good afternoon, and good luck. This is all backwards. Good afternoon.
Oh,
It's before the show.
Gotta turn my notifications off.
Yeah, put your phone away so that our conversation won't be so light.
Oh, I see what you did there.
That was a tease ahead.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there.
Okay. All right. I think I can safely start Alpha Geek Media.
Oh, should I make my head bigger? I guess.
I would just zoom in. Seems easier.
There we go.
All right. Let's do a show.
The Daily Tech News Show is brought to you by listeners like us. Go to dailytechnewsshow.com/donate to learn how.
Donuts.
No, Homer, that's donate. But I'm sure Tom wouldn't mind donuts either.
This is the Daily Tech News for Monday, September 28th, 2015. I'm Tom Merritt. Joining me today, as she does most Mondays, Ms. Veronica Belmont, DTNS contributor and host of Dear Veronica, the ultimate question and answer show of the internet on Engadget.com. How's it going, Veronica?
That was an excellent sounding introduction. Thank you. Thank you,
You're
Tom.
welcome. I consider you to be, I want to say the Dear Abby of the internet, but it's more than that. It's well beyond the mere ethical and etiquette topics. No question goes untouched on Dear Veronica.
That is true, in spite of how scary they may be.
Yeah, you should watch it, people. We're going to talk about the ethics and etiquette today of having your phone out while other people are talking to you. Put your phone away.
It's away.
No,
it's
not
away.
that guy. The guy.
Oh, you.
I guess it's hard if you're listening to a podcast to put your phone away.
That's true.
I guess you could just put it in your pocket. I don't know. Or stop the podcast and talk to your mother for once.
We'll explore this later.
Yeah, exactly. Let's do some headlines. Paul Thurrott noted a Microsoft web page inviting VR app developers to a hackathon in Russia on October 17th. People with successful ideas will get a VR kit that works with a Microsoft Lumia phone. The kit looks to be a cardboard holder for the phone. And last time I tried to go to that page, it was no longer up. So everyone's doing headlines about Microsoft making their own cardboard. Maybe the picture was a lie or something. I don't know.
I don't know. That seems what is a successful idea in this case? I have so many questions about this.
Yeah, the page is in Russian, so Paul Thurrott noted, he's like, when you translate it to English, it calls it a successful idea. There may be something lost in the translation there.
Yeah, it would make sense, though. I mean, everyone's kind of getting their fingers deep into the world of VR at this point, and the cardboard version of Google Cardboard, it works really well for a lot of 3D applications, so I can see Microsoft getting into that space with an entry-level, inexpensive VR viewer.
Yeah, and why not? If you can get some developers to do some VR apps, you can sell a few Lumia phones that way. Lumias are selling well in parts of the world. You get into some VR there, and eventually Microsoft is going to be providing software for other virtual reality platforms as well as for their own HoloLens. So it all ends up fitting into the Satya Man's plan.
Indeed. AdWeek is rolling along in New York. Google announced a new feature for advertisers called Customer Match. Similar to Facebook, advertisers can upload mailing lists and target ads to members of the list who also have accounts at Google for Search, Gmail, and YouTube. Meanwhile, Facebook will rip a page from Twitter's book and work with Nielsen on a metric called a total rating point. The TRP measures Facebook video ad performance along TV ad performance, so advertisers can plan a campaign across both platforms.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff that's going to come out of the AdWeek is going to sound like more ways to track you. And that's only because it's more ways to track you. Yes.
It's absolutely true.
It's because that's what they want to do. But two important things here is one, Google is playing catch up in this case. Usually Google is at the forefront of creepy tracking, but they're doing something that Facebook and other companies have been doing for a while in this list matching. And it is list matching where you've opted into everything. So if you don't want to be list matched, then you either shouldn't have a Gmail account or you shouldn't have given your email account to whatever client is buying the ads. The Nielsen thing I think is even more fascinating, where Facebook is, again, like Twitter, trying to get in on TV buys and get a little of that TV money to come more over to the mobile space, because, you know, Facebook, with a new emphasis on video, really wants to sell a lot of video ads. And if you can get somebody who's buying television to add on or shift some money to you, but still have it all part of the same campaign when they're telling it to their boss, I think that makes it easier to make the buy.
Well, it converts it into metrics that they understand, because, you know, people who are selling ads or buying ads, they understand Nielsen as a metric, and maybe they don't understand some of the tools or terms that people use in the web ad space. So, you know, CPMs and yada, yada, yada. So, you know, maybe that'll help bring more money in that way.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point. Even if they understand them, it's apples and oranges when you're sitting down looking at the campaign and you're like, well, I think it did well. But if you've got one metric across both, that helps. The Financial Times reports on several tech deals Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi signed during his tour of Silicon Valley. As we told you back on September 14th on the show, Google is going to launch free Wi-Fi in 500 Indian railway stations. Google has now confirmed that deal. Also, Microsoft is now pledging to bring low-cost broadband to 500,000 Indian villages. Qualcomm will invest $150 million in Indian startups, and Prime Minister Modi also took part in an hour-long presentation at Facebook where he called on world leaders to embrace social media, and apparently people in the audience were chanting his name. Modi, Modi.
That's fascinating. Funny, a guy I know who used to work for Twitter, I believe, his name, he has the @Narendra username on Twitter. He was getting a lot of tweets meant for Narendra Modi this past week, especially since there was a big play for social media, but he got like messages from the Prime Minister of Japan, for example, all sorts of stuff. Yeah, he was like, I don't think you meant me. I don't think you know how this
Narendra
works. Yeah.
Did that recently with someone where I didn't realize the person I wanted had a middle initial in their Twitter name, and this person must get this all the time, where they're like, wrong guy, you want the guy with use the middle initial.
It happens. Yeah. Part of this new world we live in. GoPro has unveiled a new entry-level action camera for $200. And Gadget reports that the Hero Plus shoots 60 frames per second, 1080p resolution, and has Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connectivity. The new camera should be in stores October 4th, and GoPro is also dropping the price of the super compact Hero 4 Session from $400 to $300.
And these are still far from impulse buys, but getting a little more affordable, especially to get the connectivity. The cheapest GoPro before didn't have any kind of connectivity.
And they're so sturdy and
wireless connectivity.
Yeah, but they're so sturdy compared to other cameras out there, and you know the GoPro name is so well respected, and also they have so many little add-ons and clamps and clips that you can use, and they work across the board. So if you have a lot of that gear already, the new cameras will work with it, which is really nice.
A new phone from security company Silent Circle goes on sale today in North America for $800. It's the Black Phone 2. Runs Android-based private OS with all the encryption love that it gave to the Black Phone original, but it has beefier specs. 5.5-inch 1080p screen, Qualcomm 8-core CPU, 3 gigs of RAM, 32 gigs of storage, and a 3060 milliamp hour battery.
A phone from a security company.
Encrypt all the things.
Spsheridan pointed out the Verge article that the Quantum Artificial Intelligence Lab announced a multi-year agreement to install D-Wave's 2x quantum processor machine. The 1,000 qubit machine needs an operating temperature of 15 millikelvin, meaning outer space is even too hot. The Quantum Artificial Intelligence Lab is a joint operation of Google, NASA, and the University Space Research Association.
Now, there's a lot of controversy about D-Wave. Some people think it doesn't actually do anything better, that it doesn't get the quantum boost that you're supposed to get. But I think this lab is using it to basically research how quantum computers work. They talk about quantum annealing and stuff like that. So it may help us, if not prove D-Wave's model, at least help us eventually get into real quantum computing. Not to say D-Wave isn't. I don't know if it is or not, but further research.
Oh, I have a live correction. Sebgon says, not true. You need to make sure you have a 3+ or newer for all the accessories to work across device on the GoPro cameras. So this one should still work with your 3+ product gear lines.
Oh, okay.
But it won't go too far backwards beyond that.
TM204 wanted us to mention that a team from Oxford and the Karlsruhe Institute in Germany have created an optical-only chip that can permanently store data. Optical chips are not speed limited by heat and resistance, so they can be super fast, but up until now, it was all volatile memory. You couldn't store data permanently. This team took the same alloy called GST that's used in rewritable DVDs, used a guided high-intensity laser charge to change the alloy between crystalline and non-crystalline structure. A low-intensity laser could then tell if it was a nice sharp crystal or a big old blob, and the team could store up to 8 bits of data in a single location. Team now needs to make the chip smaller in order to make it viable, but speed and power consumption are on par with current electronics. They even say it's commercially feasible to make, and if they can figure out everything and bring it to market, it could make computer storage 100 times faster.
Ooh, lots of interesting computer news today. Computing, rather.
Yeah, advances in computing. Yeah. It's like it's 2006 all over again.
Advances in computing. I don't know why that makes me feel funny inside. One Touch Easy sent us the news that Netflix has released instructions on how to build the ultimate Netflix and chill machine. The Switch is a wireless button powered by a microcontroller and an infrared transmitter that can sync with connected devices to turn on your TV, dim the lights, fire up your Netflix queue, and do whatever comes naturally.
Yeah, it requires a little bit of soldering. If you're comfortable with that.
I want that. I want that so bad.
You should do this.
Yeah, that would be fun.
You should make a video of this.
I don't think Ryan would let me.
Oh, that's too bad.
Oh, whatever. I know.
Just one button, like, boom.
Come on, husband. I just want to rip up our entire home theater setup and our home automation systems. Whatever. No big deal.
Got a soldering iron. Back off.
Time on this. Yeah. Better at soldering him anyway.
And cool maker things from Netflix are always a nifty.
Totally.
Nifty thing too. German tabloid Bild am Sonntag reports that Volkswagen's internal investigation has found a 2007 letter from parts supplier Bosch warning Volkswagen not to use the software that fooled emission tests during regular operation. And the Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung newspaper reports that a Volkswagen technician raised concerns about illegal practices in connection with emission levels in 2011. LA Times says Volkswagen's spokesperson called the reports rumor and speculation. But Veronica, as someone who is driving an affected car, how do these revelations make you feel?
I'm sad because my resale value is going to be terrible, at least until all of this blows over. My car is already 3 years old, 3.5 years old. I did take it in for service, and they supposedly fixed the software issue, although they said that I was very confused, because they said they didn't have an official fix yet, but then they said they fixed it, so I don't know what they fixed. I don't know what's going on here. We'll see.
I mean, there's nothing to fix, really.
Well, it's like an update. It's
I mean, what they need to do is take out the part of the software that does this.
Right.
But I mean, and that's easier said than done. I get that.
Yeah.
But does that actually fix the emissions testing? Like, maybe they fixed it like, okay, this is no longer going to do this while you're driving it, which means you're going to see worse fuel consumption. But they may not have brought it up to code for emissions testing. I don't know. Good question.
Yeah, very good question. If anyone knows, I've been trying to glean this from news sources, and I haven't really found a sufficient answer. Oh, it's me. TechCrunch reports Chinese ride-sharing company Didi Kuwati has invested in Indian ride-sharing company Ola. While Uber tries to open service in multiple countries, Didi is investing in regional services like Lyft in the U.S., Grab Taxi in Southeast Asia, and now Ola in India.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different way of going about it, and we've been following this story on DTNS for a while now. But it ties into our earlier story about how everybody is seeing India as the new fertile ground to, tweak your business model. It's a place where you can enter the market and sell more things. That's why Uber is working very hard against some pretty hard headwinds to make progress establishing themselves in India. So Didi Kuwati, to me, looks smarter to say like, hey, there's somebody from India that already knows how to operate in India. We'll just partner with them. That makes sense, right?
No, it's great.
And Google has an announcement tomorrow. Don't forget, but Android Police is intent on spoiling it. The blog claims it knows pretty much everything. The pricing for the Nexus 5X by LG, they say it's going to be $380. They also say it's going to be called the Nexus 5X. They say the Nexus 6P is what will come from Huawei and will be $500 and will be up for pre-order tomorrow. Oh, and Android 6.0 Marshmallow will roll out for older Nexuses on October 5th. There's going to be a tablet called the Pixel C or something like that. I have a feeling, we talked about leaks about Chromecasts earlier, that there's going to be a veritable cornucopia of new gadgets announced by Google tomorrow.
I like cornucopias.
Do you like cornucopias of new gadgets?
And filled with information.
Not necessarily delicious, but fun nonetheless. And don't forget, folks, as we mentioned in a couple of these cases, we take a lot of our stories from the subreddit at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. So get in there and vote. Make your voice heard. Help us put the stories together. That's how we find out about a lot of these advances in computing, because you guys tell us you're interested in them. dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. And that is a look at the headlines. Interesting story today in the New York Times that Veronica pointed out. Sherry Turkle, who's a professor in the program of Science and Technology and Society at Massachusetts Institute of Technology here in the U.S., wrote an article in the New York Times about whether texting, using apps, looking at your smartphone is ruining conversation. And she implies, based on a few studies that are out there, that this lack of conversation could lead to a lack of empathy. She recommends enforcing some solitude on yourself. If you're always looking at your phone, you're never alone, right? You're always connecting. She's saying maybe it's time, you should take some time alone. She emphasizes maybe you should try doing one thing at a time because multitasking is an illusion. Recommends sacred spaces without phone or tech. A lot of people try to make dinner time that place. But she cites a study from Pew Research about the usage of phones. 89% used phones at social gatherings and purposes related to the gathering, but still, that's almost all of us are using phones while we're socializing with other people. There was a 2010 meta-study found a 40% decline in empathy among college students. A 2014 study by Yalda T. Ools found that after 5 days without phones or tablets, children were able to read facial emotions and correctly identify emotions of actors in videotape scenes better than a control group. And the list goes on. Veronica, why does this fascinate you? Do you feel like the phones are getting in your way of socializing with people?
Well, this really tied in nicely to the talk that I actually just gave at XOXO, which was about context and empathy, and how in this new internet-based society that we live in, we're so quick to have the hot takes, to be the first to come out with the good comment, the interesting comment, the funny Twitter post, that we very rarely stop to think about the feelings or the situations of the people on the other end. And that has caused a big rift in our society in a lot of ways. And this kind of draws on that by saying that because we're so tied into our phone 100% of the time, we're not relating to the people around us in our physical space. And we're using it as a crutch to kind of fix any awkwardness or silent moments or periods of downtime in the physical meet space. So what are the solutions? We don't really know yet, but some of what you mentioned is definitely promising, which is that anytime that we are disconnected from technology, we tend to start reconnecting with our physical space. Not only just how we feel inside, but also being more in tune with the emotions of other people around us. And the child study I thought was particularly fascinating because they separated kids from technology, and almost immediately they started paying more attention to the emotions and feelings of the other kids in the room. And they were saying originally that 12-year-olds were behaving more like 8-year-olds in terms of their empathetic rate.
Their level of empathy, yeah.
Yeah, they're just intuitive level of empathy. So they were acting like much younger children who hadn't yet developed these traits yet. But when you take technology out of the equation, it starts to right itself pretty quickly. So it's difficult, though, because we have developed this intense need to constantly be connected and to constantly know what's going on, or else we get serious FOMO, or we feel like we're not up to date on everything, or we're not letting other people be up to date on what we're doing, because you always have to be self-broadcasting. But it's good to take a moment at least for a few minutes out of every day, to just completely be in your own space and not feel completely tethered to your mobile device or your computer or your laptop or whatever it is.
Yeah, I feel like if anything, I feel guilty. Like I never am on Facebook. People will say, I posted this on Twitter. Didn't you see it? And I'll be like, no, I didn't. So I think my natural behaviors right now are helping me avoid some of the pitfalls here. But at the same time, my job is to look at the internet all day long. And so, I'm definitely overexposed to technology versus what I would do other times. And part of the solution for me has been the same kind of solution you need to have when you're a freelancer or when you set your own hours, which is setting my own limits of, okay, now I'm done with work. And again, I think I'm benefiting from the fact that my work is with technology because I set the technology aside. I'm like, I'm going to watch a TV show and I'm going to look at the TV show. I'm not going to look at my phone. Maybe I'll pick it up to look up something on IMDb. Maybe. And maybe that's a problem because there are some stories in this article about the dad that's like, let me check a fact on Google, and the daughter gets upset. But I definitely try to say, I'm not going to sit there and look at Twitter. I'm not going to sit there and just surf. Whereas my wife, she is like everybody else, right? She's on her phone while she's watching TV. She's on her phone when we go out to dinner. And I'm not throwing her under the bus. It's not in a rude way. She is on it the way everyone is on it. So I guess my point is, I wonder if it's just a matter of us learning how to use these new technologies.
Well,
yeah, exactly.
I mean, we're involved in technology in such a way now, and we're so immersed in it that we haven't really caught up emotionally to those ramifications. Like, we haven't really figured out as a species how to handle this new world where we are connected 100% of the time. And we're social creatures, but for many, many centuries, millennia, we were basically communicating with the people within a physical radius of us. And then it got a little wider, and then it got even more large. And then now suddenly we're a global community where we're able to talk to people across the world instantaneously. And that's a big difference for us. And so now we have to figure out, do we need to disconnect to kind of keep some of that humanness to us in a way? And I feel crazy if I'm online all day, I'm doing social media. At the end of the day, I just feel like, what did I just do? Not in a bad way, what did I just do? I did something wrong, but was this beneficial to me? Is this
were you
feeling
productive? Was it substantial?
Was I productive? Was I making a difference? Was I somehow improving myself as a person? Or was I just feeling the need to constantly be keeping up with everything else going on around me? And I find that there's a big benefit in unitasking, which is just focus on one thing that you're working on at any given time and really give your full attention to that one thing. Because we're being bombarded with notifications and pings and tweets and Slack notifications and everything else going on in our lives, that I think it really is beneficial to step away from it and just go do something else for a little while every day. Whether that's take a dog for a walk without bringing your phone with you, maybe bring it with you for safety reasons, but not being tied into
keep
it.
In your pocket or something, yeah.
Yeah.
And bring your own dog or a dog you're allowed to bring. Don't steal a dog.
Don't steal a dog. That's definitely rule number one.
Bring your own phone.
Yeah. But people are trying to figure out these ways of having dinner together and not being on their phones 100% of the time. Whoever is last to put their phone on the stack in the center of the table has to pay the bill. These kinds of games. We're coming up with new ways to solve these issues, if you want to call them that. But yeah, it's definitely something that people are talking about in increasing amounts recently.
Now, thanks to TG Stellar, by the way, who's been great at posting discussion topics related to the show in our subreddit. That's another use of the subreddit, dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. He posted today's topic in there, and Jack Floyd posted one of my favorite XKCD comics called The Pace of Modern Life, where he takes quotes going all the way back into the 1870s about people saying, technology is ruining our lives, the pace of things is too fast. For instance, 1890 from Frank Leslie's Popular Monthly, conversation is said to be a lost art. Good talk presupposes leisure, both for preparation and enjoyment. The age of leisure is dead, and the art of conversation is dying. Now, here's the thing. I know that a lot of folks out there are going to say, aha, see, yeah, we always say technology is bad, and it's never ends up being as bad as we thought. I think that's true, but also this concern about smartphones is also true. Do you think these are incompatible?
I think that this is it feels to me like a different thing. It feels like we have absorbed this technology into our personas in such an incredible way, our own person. We're so tied to these avatars of ourself online that it's super hard to disconnect that. And I don't know, it's hard to explain. I've been thinking about this an awful lot.
Yeah, these things are extensions of our identity.
Right,
You're absolutely right.
And so when we disconnect, we sometimes feel like we're separating ourselves from this community that we've built and created and curated and cultivated for years, for decades now. But you have to be comfortable just being alone with your thoughts and being able to have a conversation with another human without having your cell phone sitting in your lap, tantalizing you with other conversations and other notifications.
I think you're right in the up close view, which is, this is different and we need a different set of skills to deal with it. But my wider view, based on this XKCD comic, is that it's always different every time. Television was different. We had never seen something like television, the ability to turn on and see moving pictures all the time. And lots of people said, no TV while we're at the dinner table. And we need to limit the amount of TV kids watch. And they weren't wrong. We had to learn how to responsibly deal with television and how to set limits with our children with television and how to teach them how to responsibly use it. And we're starting to learn that now, even as we hit peak television, right? And before that, it was, these sort of things like Frank Leslie saying, there's no more leisure, we're working all the time and we're losing the art of conversation. But because Frank made that complaint, people realized, okay, well, we need to learn how to balance this. So I guess I'm saying is none of this is wrong. We're always hitting this whenever there's something new that changes how we inhabit our daily lives. And if the old ways of dealing with technology, if the ways of dealing with television and radio and electricity worked to deal with smartphones, we wouldn't be having the controversy. It's because it's new that we have to approach it from a different way and identify those things that you're talking about. Like, wow, I've never had anything that extended my identity out in the world this way before. How do I set my boundaries so I don't feel like I'm cutting off a part of myself?
And I also think that things like TV, for example, are passive experiences. And the internet is not necessarily a passive experience. It's something that is calling you to engage with it at every possible moment. And your careers are tied into it, and your personal life, and your romantic lives, and your fun lives. All of that is tied into this one method of communication. So it's more than just viewing television, and it's more than just listening to the radio, and all these other ways that throughout history we've been told are going to bring down society. So I'm not saying, let me be clear, I live on the internet. I'm not saying that the internet is going to destroy humankind. I do not believe that. But I also believe that there is benefit to disconnecting every so often.
Yeah, I think learning when to use the tool, right? Mm-hmm. I'm sure the first person to invent a screwdriver tried to use it for lots of things that a screwdriver wasn't good for, right? And maybe some folks, this is a horrible analogy probably, but people are like, screwdriver is not allowed at the table. Don't use it to eat your food. That's a horrible idea. So we're saying in a more complex way than humanity's ever had to deal with before, we've got this new tool and we have to learn how to make it not distract us, how to not make us less productive and lead less fulfilling lives, because it definitely has the potential. I think both of us are saying the same thing, to help us live more fulfilling and more productive and more valuable lives than ever if we use it right.
And the fact that they have to teach empathy in schools now, which is another thing that was referenced in this post, but that I've read into more extensively across the world. There's programs in schools where teachers are actively teaching empathy to students because it's something that's being lost in this tech space text-based world that we're living in now, where you're not reading the emotions of someone eye to eye. You know, we can do this now because we're having a video call together. So, you know, that's one step a little bit better, because I can see what emotions you're feeling at that moment, and I can change my responses based on those. But I know you look sad puppy dog eyes. I'm sorry, I didn't know you felt that way. But when you're just typing on Twitter or when you're typing into Facebook, you know, context gets lost in a major way, and that's having an effect.
TVZ Gun in our chat room says that's why I much rather prefer enjoying podcasts live, as it's a much more of a conversation, not just a show, right?
Yeah.
So again, I think that's why you can look at this and say, oh, we have to teach kids empathy. How sad is that? What a horrible world. I mean, that's a perfectly valid way to look at it. I look at it as, oh, so we've identified that these new conditions have caused something different, and we're taking steps to correct it. And I think that's a positive. It'd be worse if we weren't.
I feel better on days that I have some, you know, I've been trying to stay off social media on the weekends as much as possible. And I think that really, it just makes me feel better to step away for a while. And that could just be me, but try it.
Yeah. Well, the single best policy I ever enacted with myself in the late 90s was, you know, I don't want to know every time I get an email. Like early on an email, I'm like, no. I get an email. I get emails all the time. That's just going to distract me. And I've carried that through. I almost never use notifications on smartphones. And a lot of people are like, how, well, that's horrible. You're not going to be notified about certain things. I'm like, great. No, I don't want to get pushed at all the time, because that drives me crazy. So again, like setting aside time where you're not engaging with the internet, you know, figuring out like how often do you really need to be notified and bugged and distracted and pulled away from what you're thinking about. Maybe even going monotasking and saying, I'm only going to do one thing at a time and I'm really going to focus. All of these are ways that you can deal with this.
Yep.
It's good stuff. Is your Exo Talk like available for people to?
It's not online yet, I don't think. But I'll
so
let you guys know when it comes up.
Yeah. Follow at Veronica, find out. All right, our pick of the day comes from Matthew J. Stevens, who wrote in after hearing Veronica talk about how she wore both Fitbit and Apple Watch, speaking of device overload, and how she'd like to get to a single device. He suggests Sync Solver Triple Play. It sells for $7 right now on the iTunes store. He writes, one syncs Fitbit data into your health app, another syncs health data to Fitbit, and the third allows you to export the data in CSV format. I started using these apps about a week ago, and I can now still compete with all my Fitbit contacts, even though I no longer wear a Fitbit.
Yeah, I have that app already.
Okay. All right.
And it works. It does, but you would have to pick a device that you wanted it to be your master. And I don't trust, this is going to sound crazy, I don't trust Apple's step data the way I trust Fitbit's.
Okay.
So in order to get the data that I want, I still have to wear the Fitbit, because I'm copying over the Apple Watch pedometer data from the Fitbit.
Yeah. So the data creation wasn't the problem for you, it was the data accuracy.
Yes.
Yeah. But still a good pick for somebody who wants to just go to the Apple Watch. Thank you, Matthew. Send your picks to us, feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. You can find my picks at dailytechnewsshow.com/picks. A couple emails. Tyler again here says, a forward-thinking airline could partner with a VR company for customers on long-haul flights to check out headsets, enabling them to watch movies or sit on the beach during the flight. Maybe one app could be a light sound display to help restless passengers get to sleep on the flights. This would go a long way to exposing many more people to VR than can attend VR demos at conferences or trade shows. Heck, it almost makes me want to get on a plane just to try out VR. That's Tyler. Some leaves are just beginning to turn for autumn in North Jersey.
Yay.
Would you do that? Would you, if you didn't have like a Gear VR of your own, and you got onto a flight and they said, oh, you know, for $5 on this cross-continental flight, you can rent a Gear VR headset with a lockdown phone, let you watch movies. And
I would. I don't really trust that they would clean them well.
What? Oh, well, then you should use cardboard.
There you go. Yeah, disposable cardboard. Recycled. Yeah.
Tim Watson says, my pedantry hackles are beginning to rise each time I hear the term 360 video. It's actually 360 degree video, Tim. Tim says, I know it's only shorthand designed to easily introduce the idea that you can look all around in video, but my pedantic soul cries out that you're not just seeing 360 degrees. You're seeing much more. Seeing 360 degrees is just seeing around in a circle, the equivalent of turning all the way around and keeping your eyes level. In 360-degree videos, you can see up and over and down and under. In other words, you're not seeing a circle, you're seeing a sphere, or most of one. You need two angles to indicate where you are looking in a sphere, a latitude and a longitude, if you like. So for accuracy's sake, a sphere has its 129,600 degrees, or 360 by 360. Of course, I doubt that anyone is going to adopt the phrase 129,600 video over 360 video anytime soon. 129K video?
Need a new term.
Sphere video.
I like it.
You like sphere video?
Yeah, why not? It's a good name for a
Everywhere.
company, too.
Sphere video. I bet somebody's taking that, though.
Probably.
Well, that is it for this episode of the Daily Tech News Show. Veronica Belmont, thank you. I know that it was hard for you to sit up today, and yet
I know.
you made it all the way through the show.
I know. I'm doing my best. Yeah, working out those kinks in my neck and the back, and hopefully I'll be up to speed again next Monday.
Yay. Well, you were awesome today, as always. Follow her on the Twitter, twitter.com/@Veronica, or twitter.com/Veronica. And, of course, engadget.com/dear-Veronica. And you can email, is it Dear? I always get the email address wrong. What's the email address for Dear Veronica if you have questions?
Veronica@engadget.com.
All right. Just Veronica? You got a question for Veronica?
Yeah.
Send it to veronica@engadget.com. You might get it answered on Dear Veronica by an expert in the field.
It might even be Tom sometimes.
Or Tom.
Or Tom. Or ask Tom.
Could be an expert in the field. Or me.
Send your questions to Tom at veronica@engadget.com.
Exactly. Go check it out. Thanks to all of the folks who make this show possible. Our patrons are our lifeblood. You changed our lives. We're getting close. We're like a quarter away from our second year completed. And it's all because of the folks who support us in so many different ways. Of course, on Patreon, if you can afford $1 a month, ask yourself honestly, can I afford $1 a month to keep DTNS going? We'd love to have it, as Dan Carlin says. Head to dailytechnewsshow.com/support. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. You can give us a call, 512-59-DAILY. That's 512-593-2459. Listen to the show live Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern at player.alphageekradio.com, and visit our website, dailytechnewsshow.com. Back tomorrow with Google's announcement and Patrick Beja. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Nailed it.
Woo.
Great show, guys. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was a good discussion. That was really fun.
Yep.
Cool.
Shibbit.
Go lie down on the floor now.
Oh, God. So
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Bio cow. Study. Phones make us. Hold on. Got a text.
That
I like that.
is good.
Netflix and chill and soldering.
Soldering, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a soldering. I read what I see.
Soldiering.
Soldering.
We can't fix it, but we just fixed it.
Yeah. Don't steal a dog. Bring your own iPhone. In Russia, reality's virtual you. Woo.
That's going a long way. That's taking
Long
a long
way.
walk.
Long
Yeah.
way around the yard there.
Yeah.
The presence of absence.
don't steal a dog. Bring your own phone.
I like that one too.
Yeah.
Successful ideas.
Successful.
What hath mobile wrought?
What hath mobile wrought? Modi.
Ooh. Sarfin noob fix.
Say the word.
Yeah.
Farfing fix.
Data is stored on optical chips with frickin' lasers. Too hot for quantum. That is going to be a Bond movie name.
Too hot
Too
for
hot
quantum.
for quantum. Oh, I like this. The unbearable politeness of being disconnected.
Oh, that's
I
clever.
love that. So I always check the deep cuts.
Yeah. Who did that one?
That was ICU. I really like that one.
It's shooting up to the top now that you mentioned it, too.
I know.
P.S. While we're waiting for the final say, Ms. Molly Wood is going to be on a panel at 3 o'clock Pacific time, 6 o'clock Eastern, with Ira Glass, the president of NPR, and she is going to set the record straight on podcasting.
Oh, yeah?
Tune in. I don't know if she's going to do that. I can't
Jenny's
claim
been
that.
campaigning for her to do
I've been
that.
campaigning for her to just stand up and be like, let me have a timeline here and see what happens. But
Remember when podcasting died in 2006, and then it came back, and then it died again, and then it came back, and then it died again?
So, and Guy Raz, and so it's quite an interesting little panel there, and you can actually allegedly watch it for free on a live stream at advertisingweek.com/calendar-npr-seminar-2015-09-28-1800. Okay.
So wait, Advertising Week
I'll put a
had
link
bunch
in the
of publicly supported
Yep.
content. Not that they actually have ads on their podcast.
Yep.
But
It's called the On-Demand Audio and Podcast Revolution, building passionate audiences and great resonance for brand, which Molly's just probably going to take a fist right through.
All right, so do we go with the unbearable politeness of being disconnected? It's like runaway hit now.
Okay.
I think so. It's just great. Yeah, look at that. A good title will always rise.
It's good title rises.
Fuck!
It's no coincidence public media podcasts dominate the iTunes top 10 list.
Hey, why wasn't this show that refuses to take advertising invited to add? Oh, right.
I'm amazed they figured out Molly should be on it. That's like massive progress. God. Whatever.
Are her and I know she's mostly doing fill-in hosting duty, but are her their stuff, marketplace stuff, is put out as podcasts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But she doesn't have like a
I know
podcast.
she doesn't have a.
Yeah.
We should fix that.
We should fix that.
But yeah, but they're legit. They're legit podcasters. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Sure.
Oh, thank you, Beatmaster. Beatmaster.
All right. Yeah.
Movie draft. What do I pick? What do I do? I'm tempted to take the same approach as last time.
Because no one will expect it. Well, you just said it on the internet, so now everyone will expect it.
I said I'm tempted. I didn't say I was gonna.
Yeah. Hold on. Wait. Let me pull up the sheet here. Are we talking about this publicly? We are, right? Because
I'm sure.
Who would be watching?
Why not?
Do you think that if you got The Martian? No, nothing can beat Star Wars. This is my problem. Nothing can beat Star Wars.
A combination. Look at the values, the Hollywood Stock Exchange values. Okay. Now, those could be wrong, and then Star Wars could run away with it, just like Jurassic World did, right? And that is a perfectly fair point. But if those numbers held true, relatively speaking, you could construct a lineup that would outgrow Star Wars alone. No single movie is going to do it, though, for sure.
Yes, all the other movies coming out in the winter movie draft will certainly maybe outgrow one movie.
Well, I did the math. If you take the total amount of Hollywood Stock Exchange value of all of those movies, divide it by 6, you get 408. And the Hollywood Stock Exchange value of Star Wars is 408.
Okay. So, Let's see.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Yeah, I mean the obvious candidates are The Martian, which I would definitely vote. I would definitely get in on, but I wouldn't. When is Star Wars coming in the draft?
First.
Oh, interesting. Well, that's smart.
And the draft order will be randomized after that.
Okay.
For anybody who's like watching this or listening to this later and doesn't understand, the movie draft is we all get $100 to spend auction style on the movies that are coming out between now and the end of the winter. So I think it's January 15th is our cutoff this time. And if when you get a movie, that means you get a point for every dollar of domestic gross in the United States that it makes. And in the end, the person with the most points wins. So you want to pick movies that are going to make a lot of money. The strategy this year is that Star Wars is going to make all the money. Can you put together a lineup of multiple, like whoever gets Star Wars is going to have to spend all their money to get just Star Wars is the theory. So can you put together a lineup of other movies that will then still make more money than Star Wars?
So then to me, the strategy has to be get the earlier movies. Get as many earlier movies as you can if you're trying to beat it without Star Wars, because that's where the money will theoretically... It's not like people are going to hold their money to go see Star Wars. It's just at the end, Star Wars is going to make all the money.
Right.
So that would be my argument for going early this year. Like The Martian is the other pick, it seems to me.
Well, and the cool thing about it, too, is I don't know when The Martian's going to show up. Is it going to show up?
Oh, random.
Because it's random order.
I see. Oh, I get it now. So many new rules.
Right. Well, you and I caused that rule because
God,
we held our money to the end. I know.
What the fresh heck?
I do like having the random order anyway.
No, that is good. I'm okay with that.
You still there, Veronica?
Uh-huh.
You don't have to hang around.
We should be automatically given Pan just as a free bit. Like, come on. I mean, not that it would have helped. It wouldn't have helped.
Right.
I still think
like, Pan again.
What a weird bunch. Or then there's Mockingjay. There are a lot of other movies. I would emotionally really like to get Creed. That's very important to me. But I also think Matt has backed it as a movie that's going to do huge. Or winter movie huge.
Yeah, Hollywood Stock Exchange does not agree with him, but I think that's the kind of thing where they may be undervaluing
That's where the qualitative value of the Flanagan-Josephson household comes in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because Spectre, The Good Dinosaur...
Can I edit in this?
The Hateful Eight... Those are all the Hollywood Stock Exchange darlings.
I don't think
do you want to edit the values?
No, I want to put things in green, yellow, or red.
Oh yeah, totally do that.
Okay. Do you want me to do it in like a different thing than the like?
No, you can do green, yellow, and red right there in that doc. That's fine.
Okay.
If you're going to change the values, I was going to try to figure out. I was going to try to copy them over so we still have.
I've given up on that. I've given up on the math. I'm actually just putting in green the ones that are the big guns.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Just so that they're separated like the wheat from the chaff visually.
Yeah, because these won't be going in order either, so it'll be harder to...
Right. So it'll just like, that'll help you... Ugh. What is a good color for Star Wars? It needs to be more green.
Gray.
Yeah, oh my god.
Because I'm not going to get it.
Yeah. Don't think that. Maybe you will.
Well, should I? I mean...
I think for the... Look, we won the summer movie draft except for the crazy outlier. Our strategy won the movie draft, except for the thing you could not control. So I don't feel... I feel like this is a bye... It's a bye week for us.
Well, I guess what I'm thinking is just don't go after Star Wars. Like bid it because if you can get it for less than 100, obviously you should.
Well, right.
But after it hits 100, I think it's overvalued at 99% of gross, maybe 99% of gross. But if you have to take
then what's boring? Here's what's boring about bidding all your money on Star Wars, is that then you don't get to play anymore.
Yeah,
like you're done.
Right, you're done.
You're done.
You're just making fun of people for the rest of the episode.
Yeah.
And you got to wait until
fine.
December to know anything.
So my strategy would be, I have so much fun playing this game that why try to win it this time around if
So
we
you're
just
saying
assume,
play for the love of the game.
Yeah. I'm saying play for second again. I mean, I wanted to win Summer Movie Draft because I thought we could have, but I feel like it's obvious that whoever has Star Wars will win to me. And so in my mind, second is actually first. There you go. Doesn't that seem to make sense? So, Veronica, oh my God, do you want to go?
Oh, I was just reading stuff.
Okay, I feel bad.
It's okay.
Go lie on the floor or something.
Okay.
Feel better.
Thanks. Bye,
I'm
guys.
almost out of the post anyway. Thanks, Veronica.
Okay. Okay, so that's my theory, is play for second. Put in a strong movie draft showing that might take us all the way, but is not going to take us past Star Wars. And just let all the testosteronies go for Star Wars. They can all fight it out. It'll be really exciting, and then we'll take all the other movies.
Yeah, but I mean, only one person is going to take Star Wars. So then anyone who didn't take Star Wars, we're still going to have to fight them.
I know. So anyway, that's my general peace of mind theory. Shouldn't you be automatically awarded the Steve Jobs movie? Just Jobs. What is it? Jobs or Jobs? Why don't I know?
It's only Jobs. It's only ever been Jobs.
Yeah.
It's never been Jobs.
Yeah. Why did people call it Jobs then?
No one should, and I don't know anyone who does. Do you know people who do?
Yeah.
They're wrong.
Yeah, I know. It's like, I don't know. There's certain people.
They're just Old Testament scholars that you hang out with.
Yeah.
They all want to pronounce it Job.
That's right. All right. So Steve Jobs. And then why does everybody at that company have names like Steve Jobs versus Jobs or Johnny Ive versus Joan? Like weird. Like
well,
stop.
Johnny Ive has always been Johnny too, but he spells it weird because he's English.
Just stop.
All right.
Okay.
That is it for us in front of you. We're going to continue this conversation actually online because we'll still be on the internet, but you won't be able to watch it. Goodbye.
Yep. Bye.